I just want to say hi. My name is Nathan. I'm an intern here at Sports Philanthropy Network. I want to thank you guys both for joining us. It's an honor for us to have you on our panel. And I'm now going to hand it over to you guys to begin the session. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Brett, for your support. Dr. Rizgar, it's so good to see you, brother. So let me do just a quick introduction. My name is Sarah Hillyer. I'm the founder and director of the Center for Sport, Peace, and Society at the University of Tennessee, and have had the incredible privilege of working with Dr. Rizgar, which this is a new title. Before, I was always calling him Coach Rizgar. He is from Suleimania, Iraq, in the northern part of the country, Kurdistan. Rizgar, we've been working together since 2007 on the development of girls basketball in Iraq, following the removal of Saddam and his evil sons. So welcome today, and thanks for being a part of the conversation that helps us understand what sports, especially for girls and women, is like in the Middle East right now, specifically in a country that's recovering from war and still really in the heart of so much conflict. So Dr. Rizgar, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this nice introduction. Well, in fact, don't you guys believe her? She always exaggerates with my, career and coaching and those kind of. I'm a bad coach now.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Thank you so much. So nice to meet you. And I hopefully can give you a picture and a frame for what is going on, especially in Iraq and Suleimania with my program, and also the area, because I'm since 2 years, I'm kind of familiar with what is going on in Jordan, Iran, Turkey, and Syria, some other countries, because we've been participating in the WABA tournament and the international tournament for under 16. And I have a lot of connections with the coaches everywhere around the area.
Hey, Dr. Rizgar, when you say WABA, explain that for an American audience.
It's in Arabic, it's Ittihad Gharb Asia, West
Asia, right?
Yes, it's FIBA, but it's the West Asia part.
Yes.
So it includes probably Jordan, Syria, Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, Palestine.
Yeah.
So mostly when they want to qualify us for the Asia Cup or the World Cup, they would probably open tournaments qualifications for those countries. So they participate, and then they take, for example, in 2018, we've been participating in 2018 WABA 3-on-3, and it was 4 teams, and 2 teams went up, Syria and Lebanon. They went to Asia Cup, and there, depending on the countries and the level of the teams, they go to World Cup. That's how It goes on.
Perfect. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time together talking about the history. We're both basketball players, so we'll stick with basketball because it's what we know best. But can you give us a little background, like a brief history lesson on women's basketball in Iraq specifically? So, because a long time ago, before Saddam came into power, women's basketball was quite active. Then Saddam and his sons, what happened during that time leading up to, let's just say, more recently, when the US and allied forces removed Saddam from power. So give us a short timeline of women's basketball in Iraq.
In fact, there's a lot of expressions, perspectives about what is going on with women basketball, especially. I believe, from what I've read and what I've experienced, is that after 18th, like in 1975 to 1980, it was a kind of growth happening to women basketball in Iraq. While Saddam came, he took the rule for like 3-4 years with the war with Iran. He was kind of far away from sports, especially his son Uday, who was the head of the Olympic Committee. After that, he got involved in, and he was crazy with women. You've heard a lot of stories about Uday. he was, doing a lot of bad things for girls. So mostly, and I do believe they were exaggerating with women's sports. Women basketball is growing in Iraq. It's growing big. It's going to the Olympic Games. It's happening. It's there. We have schools. They were all lies. There were kind of 3-4 clubs for women. They were opening a tournament for them in 5 days and finish it, just so they show people that they have a program and they have a league in Iraq. In 2009, in 1991, it was a start for Kurdish people, kind of a start after the revolution against Saddam. We were almost independent, you know about that. We've been starting some programs in Duhok, Erbil, and Suleimania. Baghdad was coming down because logistic people, Shia people, Sunni people, and the bad situation for security out there in south and middle, Baghdad and the area. In 2003, when Saddam was gone, we started again a tournament in Kurdistan, and it was growing a little bit to become level A and level B, and 4 teams in level B, 2 goes up, 2 from 6-8 teams from level A comes down. And after that, you guys came with global sports partners to do some clinics, some coaching courses, basketball camps for girls. It gave us, in a Kurdish expression, we would say, it gave us a soul. It renewed this. I don't know exactly how to express this, but it was a breathe for our girls to understand what basketball is. Then we've been traveling in 2009 to see the legendary coach Pat Summitt. That was the point, I think. Of course, because of you arranged all of these stuff. When we saw Pat Summitt, I personally understood 2 things: life and coaching style. Before, we were gathering 12 players, 10 players, 20 players, girls, and bring them over, practice, do some layup, do some shooting, and then play some game. We'll have a tournament. We have to break noses. We have to beat that team. We have to do this. We have to do this. And after that, when we came to America, we saw the people of there, very nice, very family, very friendly, and so generous to our girls. That was a part that changed the girls mostly. And for me, it was, like I told you, I understand that the soul of coaching and how this position can affect the community. How Pat Summitt started, I started reading about her through that year. From 2009, I've been reading, watching YouTube stuff, checking her record, her titles, seeing her cutting the net, being happy, seeing people go throwing a big basket of on her hair, and she never becomes angry. So lots of stories, experiences, lessons, facts that changed me personally. So after that, we've been, thinking about, again, being against each other, but the true love of the game was born in 2010 when we started with Global Sports Partners, the Gizing basketball program for girls. We've been including 150 girls in the beginning, and then it became like 50. Then it became 35, and then a proper team, we gave it to one of the clubs. When I came to America for the next time in 2011 in Houston, I was in a coaching clinic with NBA coaches, some very talented basketball players who played in NBA. So many lessons, contacting so many coaches in Houston. This changed my style of coaching. After that, I was like, hesitating between the clubs in Suleimania, corruption everywhere, politician guys coming to occupy the clubs and then doing whatever they want. They want you to be like them, exactly. Obey, saying, okay, no problem. You're my leader, you're my boss. I will do anything you want. That is something doesn't usually go with people like me, the type of that I have personally and mentally. So I came the last time to America in 2016. I think it was the fruitful trip for me because I have, I stayed there for 2 months, and being there with people, going to everywhere for the, primary schools, secondary schools with Shannon, having her car and her, her women type of girl, taught me a lot of things about America. I was thinking that so many stuff in America is different, but I realized that people are the same everywhere, but the level of, living and studying and like experience, science experience,
Sure.
understanding life is different. So I collected a project for myself. It was a mixture between America and Kurdistan and Iraq. So I started JIMA, which means Path of Life. JIMA is an organization that teaches little girls how to become better persons, how to become better girls, how they save the environment, how they collect trash, how they plant trees, how they serve their moms and dad, how they have good marks and degrees at schools, and then how they become the national team players. And now we are growing to have the faith and the soul of being a good team on the area. We're in the World Cup for skills challenges, so we will be participating in World Cup skills challenge in Thailand in October. You know that. So this is a brief, small little things that I have in mind for what I've done. In fact, being in America changed my life, but having faith in Pat Summitt and what she's done to America and to girls, women in there, non-graduated, players. If you miss class, you don't play. Screaming in the changing room, I want to have that title, and they all scream, yeah, we want to have this. This would not change you personally as a coach or a player. It would change you as a person, as a human.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So for the people that are tuned in, which thank you for that history lesson, you minimalize what you all have done. I mean, really during the time of Saddam and his sons, parents were not sending their girls to sports because they didn't want them to be abused or kidnapped or the horrific things that happened. And so really, kind of like a bell curve, sport, you said in 1975, 80 was up. Then there was the war between Iran and Iraq. Then there was the Gulf War, which that was a whole other thing. Then Saddam trying to eliminate the Kurdish people in Halabja in the chemical weapon attack. So what year did that happen? And what role did that play on the mentality of parents, and especially wanting to protect their daughters? And sport, when you face such atrocities, is the last thing on people's minds. So can you paint a picture of the lost generation of girls as they are referred to because of war, 3 wars really, and the chemical weapon attack and Saddam's attempt to eliminate the Kurdish people?
Yeah, it was so hard for people to survive. So imagine if you cannot survive, how can you play sports? If a man cannot survive and cannot play sports, what about women, especially in an Eastern Muslim country like Iraq and Kurdistan? People were not just trusting others, they were hating them. They were hating every single coach because he would be related to Ba'ath party, which is Saddam's party. You have to sign, you have to obey. You have, like I told you, the same example now is happening. A little bit easier, but it was before worse, because they would kill you if you don't. Now they would not kill you, they would torture you. Anyways, it's worse. So at that time, families were trying, if you don't believe me, if I tell you, if I would be a parent in 70s or 80s, I would think about Hermia to grow up, just to get married and have her husband to be protected by someone. Does that make sense to you?
Your daughter. And how old is Hermie now?
She's 18.
18.
So,
okay.
Yeah, if she would be, for example, 15, I would just think about finishing something in school, like, even though if she doesn't go to schools, colleges, no problem, but she becomes 18, 19, and she gets married from a guy, and this guy would protect her from other people because she's married now, and logically, mentally and socially, it's hard for someone to touch a woman. She has a husband. So it was so difficult for families to understand sports. Sports were at that time the last thing that they think about, except in one situation. If the mom is a sports player somewhere and the coach is a relative or someone very trusted, a guy with conscience, a guy with a good name, like me now for my community, they would give the girl, they would send her. Even though with this, when you go to another city, you have to go to the houses, beg the parents, please, she will be with me, she will travel by a bus, she will go to a hotel, she will play, she will come back. If something happens, you're responsible. The girl's not responsible. So even though the coaches were not ready to take this responsibility of risking with girls, if something happened, an accident or something happened to the girl, at that situation with Saddam and his system, his regime. So it was difficult. After 2003, it was kind of opening, technology, and socially, people are traveling outside. Some other people going to Turkey, to Iran. People were more open-minded, and sports grew to become something that, like a need for your health, to being stronger. Still, they don't believe that it will make champions and heroes. They still think that it's good for health. It's good for being stronger, better, speaker sometime. After 2010, like I told you, when GSP, to be honest, when GSP came to open all these clinics, all these basketball camps, it changed the community. After 2016, we changed everything by showing people a very good, I'm not a liar in a Kurdish expression, if I tell you, showing an honest and a great picture of a coach who can become like an umbrella, and he can takes as much as he can girls under this umbrella. They don't get they don't get heat, they don't get cold, they will not be threatened, and no one can get closer, especially men. And this organization is we became to make changes in their own life, in the girl's own life. Like the girl, when she comes back, mom, I have to eat something. Why is that? Because she never does for lunch or for dinner after practice. Mom, the coach told me that I have to eat. Then she collects some fruit. The mom sees that, and she doing this to the parent, to her father, and she says changes. And then they come to tell me. One time when we came to America in 2009, a girl, Ragash, you remember, my visa came late, and the parents were so worried about the girls if they go with their Pakut to America, because they don't know her well. She's American. They were thinking that she will escape and leave the girls on a street or some of the stupid stuff. So they came to me in the Soleimani club, and we had a meeting with the parents. I turned to Ragash's father, because he was well-educated, open-minded. I told him, will you send Ragash with me if she comes to America? He said, I will send her to hell with you. So yeah, that gave the other families an encouragement. So they being encouraged that Rizgar is someone who can trust you, who you can trust, and Deb is someone. So I told them, I turned like this, Deb is better than me. I cannot protect your girls in America like Deb. She's better than me. And the people there, Sarah, and those people who will receive their girls, they will take care of them as much as they can. No fear on that. Nothing will happen to the girls except if God have some plan.
Sure.
So that was
it's such perspective, right? Like in America, we send our girls any and everywhere on sports things. If we play AAU or travel ball or high school ball, it's just normal. It's part of our culture. We don't even think twice. And thanks God for 50 years of Title IX, the educational amendment that granted equal access and opportunity. And it's 50 years old. So now it's normal. And we don't think about it as girls and women. But to think about it from your context, right? You've got an entire cultural history of parents being afraid of sending their daughters to sport. Now you've been at war with Iraq and America at war. And now you are saying, no, trust us. Send your girls to America to play basketball with me.
That's right. Some people were
thinking crazy.
Some of the parents were thinking if they come to America, people will, throw potatoes on their faces, and they will kill them. They will kidnap them because they've never been in America.
Sure.
And then, just let me tell you something, Sarah. I felt like when I was watching the games for girls, then boys in the high schools and the secondary schools with the guy, what was his name? Greg? What was his name?
Maybe.
The guy who was taking me to the games. So I was looking at the parents. I thought in America, it's a free country. No one is afraid of his girl to go everywhere. But where was worse than Sully? Because the parents were like looking at the girl while she plays, looking at the bench, asking the coach, she has to play. She's a good player. Then after the game, he goes to hug her, then take her to the car, not to go back with the, the bus, the van, whatever it is. And then I've been asking and asking and asking. They were afraid of drugs, going somewhere with a boy, not coming back because she's not still a big person. She's under 18. And then if you as a coach touch her or do something bad to her, she will probably talk and she will, bring police to you, and you will, spend your life at jail. When I was with Rainey was telling me a good note in my life I will never, ever forget. She was telling me, Rizgar, I know you are a good guy. You will never, ever touch a girl badly. I know you are a good person in Iraq, but these people who are the sample of your study, they're under 18. Please try not to touch anyone, not to look at their eyes a lot, and not to try anything personal as a man. I was like, what? Why should I touch them? Why should I talk to them? She was like, Rizgar, I know you, but you have to understand America. If you do something and if they cope to complain, a big problem will happen. I was like, talking to the girls like, I'm from Iraq. I'm a good coach. I have 60 girls like you, and my daughter is like the same age as you.
That's right.
Just try it.
So many cultural.
Dr. Sarah, everywhere in the world, everyone, if he's a man, a father, or a mother, they will probably be worried about this age from 12 to 18.
Yeah. I think any of us that are parents or aunts or uncles or anybody. Okay. Remember the first basketball camp that we did? It was 2007.
2008, sorry.
2008. It was, 2008. So when we were getting ready to come at the time, remember I was studying my PhD at the University of Tennessee. I was in American terms, a poor, starving graduate student is what we say. You have no money. You're
you and Ashley.
That's right. So I was working Coach Pat Summit's basketball camps in the summer to earn some money. And it was 1 week before we were coming to help you with the first of these camps, of these series of camps. And I think you sent an email or something and said, we have 60 girls signed up. I can't believe we have so many. You know, I mean, it was growing and they were trusting to send their girls to you. But you said we have 4 flat basketballs. Remember those heavy rubber ones that were flat? It would dribble and it doesn't come back up.
It was also number 7. It was for boys, not for girls.
That's right. That's right. So you asked, Sarah, do you think you can find someone to donate basketballs to bring to us so that every girl of the 60 has the chance to have a ball and to play and to know how special? So can you tell the story about when we came, what we came with, where they came from, and how that started your long-term relationship with Coach Pat Summitt? Do you remember?
Exactly. I remember the moment when we came in with the bags full of orange, blue basketballs, University of Tennessee. Pat Summitt sent you those basketballs, Rizgar. And I was like, for me, it was normal because I've heard about that through the conversation that we've had. But for the girls, it was, you don't believe me if I would tell you, it was like finding a jewelry thing in a bag. They were like looking like this and coming closer and going that way and then coming back, you know, waiting for the moment to be pumped in with her and then having the basketball. It was like a jewel for them. I still remember the Xing basketball girls, while they were better than the other girls, they had equipment, basketballs, everything. They were eager than the other girls to have their own basketballs. That time, that moment, it was like, you know, it was like having a very good kind of ice cream that you love from your parents or from someone who love you. The girls were like, oh, these are nice balls. And while they were shooting, they were trying not to let the ball touch the ground, catching it like this. I was telling Khoshi at that time, Khoshi, look at these girls. They love those basketballs. I told her I will never, ever forget what this lady did for us, especially Pat Summitt. And you remember we had those kind of small little pumps and
oh, yes,
like this, me, you, and Ash, Sheila, and Rainey, yeah. We were filling, you know, pumping. Then it was like 60, and it took a lot of time. We didn't even have an electricity pump so that we pumped them.
Yeah, electricity, the generator, nothing. Yeah. So, okay. You know, for Pat Summitt, it was easy to send a basketball, but she didn't have to. She didn't know you all. Obviously, the girls had no idea who Pat Summitt was. I remember you all asking us, where did these come from, the girls? And we said, oh, Coach Pat. And they kept calling her like their mother of basketball, that, oh, Miss Pat. But they had no idea who she was. And for anybody watching, Coach Pat Summitt was the women's basketball coach here at the University of Tennessee and became the most winning college basketball coach, men or women, during her life. And sadly, she passed away in actually 5 years ago today, Rizgar. She passed from early onset dementia, Alzheimer's type. And so she left us way too soon. But she was one of the most famous basketball coaches, if not the most famous basketball coach in the United States. And so from Iraq, they didn't know her, and understandably so. But Rizgar, do you remember we did the research project with your girls and we handed out the note cards and we asked your girls, this was in the second year of camp, to write down 3 of their biggest dreams. And they wanted to visit America, to see a WNBA or an NBA game, and to thank our mother of basketball, Miss Pat. Again, knowing no idea who she was.
They didn't even know.
No.
They were thinking Pat Summitt is a coach. Maybe she's a primary school coach. Maybe she is a coach, whatever.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were like this.
Yeah. So we collected those note cards and we came back, and when we saw those dreams, we decided that, well, we should make their dreams come true. So we visited the U.S. Department of State Sports Diplomacy Division, and we met with Coach Summitt, and both agreed to help get you and 13 of your girls over here for 3 sessions of Pat Summitt's summer basketball camps. Yep. So do you remember the moment when you all got here on the University of Tennessee campus, you saw Pat Summitt Street, Shamiqua Holdsclaw's Street, another famous basketball player that played here. Do you remember? Important. Yeah. Do you remember the eyes opening of your girls and them realizing just who it was that loved them and trusted them enough, which is their words, that they felt like Miss Pat trusted them to give them this gift? Do you remember that moment? And can you tell us what the conversations were with your girls?
These are not forgotten. You know, one of her rules is respect yourself and others. She never thought as an American or as a coach or as a lady or as a mother. She was thinking as human. And I think the reason of sending those basketball was for 2 reasons. One, she knew that it's in a safe hand, which is you and your coaches when they came to Iraq. 2, she knew that this will make people happy. And especially girls, because she sends the message, we need strong young women. I think if she would be existed, I'm sorry that we lost her, because we could have, you know, do a lot with her, a lot. She could have come to Iraq, being in the capital of Iraq, having, you know, camps for Iraqi people, changing the community. She would be able to do so. When she's done in America in 1974, when I was born, she could have come to Iraq and do more. And I'm pretty much sure about that. So those were the reason. And then when I came to America, I remember still she was talking to us in a session for the coaches, and then she came to me. She put her hands on my shoulder and she says, "Are you happy? Are you good?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good, thank you." She says, "Can we take a picture?" I was like, Pat Summitt is telling me take a picture with me. I was looking at myself and I was like, I should tell her, let's take a picture. Then we took a picture. Then she told me, I've heard a lot of good stuff about you, coach. You better continue with what you have started. You're doing a great job. I think she knew what is going on from maybe 2 sentences, 3 of you and Ashley. She knew that you speak from heart. And she knew when we came, we didn't come to have fun. We just came to learn. And we were blinded like this, especially the girls, and they want to open their eyes and to see life and to see what this game can do for you. And that was, I think, that was the main thing of Pat Summitt. What basketball can do to you. How can change your life. Respect yourself and others. She was respecting Iraqis and she did respect Americans. That's why, and she was succeeded. Yeah, exactly. When she was, you know, she was talking in the first day of the camp. Hey guys, I want to tell you there's a team from outside. Not exactly the same thing that she said, but we have a team from outside the States. Girls came to participate in our camp. They came from Iraq. Woo! If you remember,
there were like that. 700 girls and their parents.
Coach was turning, looking like us, looking at us and clapping for us, and we were like, woo! And we, especially girls, they didn't know what is happening, what is going on, but she knew what to say. And she knew how to send messages. Mm-hmm. People, Do not be afraid. They're Iraqis, but they're girls. They came to learn just like you want. That was the message. And in the camp, I saw Khoshi, Shamam, and the other girls, when they know just a little bit about, you know, English speaking, kind of coordinating a little bit, they go to an American girl in the elevator when we go up, in the rooms, in the at lunch, you remember they were talking, especially after the day 4. You know, they got used to people, and then they were starting talking. One thing I want to say and talk about it. One morning we had breakfast. Someone sent us a big basket of fruit and breakfast. We had our breakfast, and then coaches came to gather up around me, and they were asking me questions. Number one was one of my girls saying, Rizgar. She was looking for me. She thought that I'm American, and I am American. I'm not this Rizgar. I turned, what do you want? She was like, oh, I thought you're American. You're just like them. That is something that touched my life. When I was talking to the coaches, she thought that I'm American. Maybe with my blue eyes and my height, maybe, but she saw coordination between us. And they were asking me, one of them asked, Coach Rizgar, can you talk a little bit about Iraq? I said, about what? Ask me something. He said, are you, for example, tall? I said, yes, I'm tall for Iraqi. He said, okay, what about your little and short ones? They were all laughing. So if I am tall in Iraq, what about the other one? They were all, you know, short and short and short. These things made the girls, even though, you know, become better communicator, talk to each other, putting hands on each other shoulders, making high fives at the games, even though they didn't know high fives before. We would never in Iraq do high fives after the games. We would go, congratulations, bye-bye. That's it. But they've learned a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. Dr. Rizgar, it's so funny because yesterday, and Daniela is on the call as well, we did a session yesterday on sports diplomacy. And honestly, a lot of what we're talking about is sports diplomacy, right? Your girls coming, playing basketball with American girls, finding out that we have more similarities than we do differences, even though American girls and parents and families maybe only knew Iraq from what they saw on the news and the war. And same for your girls and their parents. They only knew about Americans based on the war because that was what was happening within that decade. But to come and play basketball and to share basketball together. And we talked about this yesterday on our panel, just the power of a high five and the connection that gives us to as humans is an incredible gift. So the girls came and they fell in love with Pat Summitt, but Pat Summitt really fell in love with all of you all. And then in 2012, Pat made her public diagnosis announcement of having early onset dementia, and it went out on the internet. And I remember you called me or sent me a message within hours and said, we have to do something for her. She needs to know that we're praying for her, that we love her, and that we are supporting her through this. So it was maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 months later that the Southeastern Conference of the NCAA, our administrative body, like almost like a sports federation here in the US for anybody that's listening from outside the US, organized a tournament called We Back Pat. And it was to give the message that we are supporting, we are backing her up, we are lifting her up. We Back Pat. And it was to show support for a coach that was suffering very much at the hands of Alzheimer's. And then to also raise money for Alzheimer's research to help find a cure for this dreadful disease. So Rizgar, when you found out about the We Back Pat tournaments that were happening all throughout the Southeast of the United States and then even nationally, tell us what you organized and what your vision was, and what we came to help tell the story about.
Now, not to be selfish, I was dreaming that I have Pat Summit in my life as a coach, to be a very big supporter, and in the beginning, to help basketball grow in Iraq. Then when I met her, to increase the number of girls who they play basketball, then it turned to be a life change. What she's did to girls: you miss class, you don't play, you have to be graduated, you become a better person when you work with me. There is punishment if you behave bad at the court and outside the court. The same as life is the same as the court. So when I heard about getting Alzheimer, I was in China. I cried a lot. She was a dream for me, and I did build a lot of dreams on that. To have her in my life, to ask her to send us, for example, more basketballs, to tell us about her stories, how she suffered when she was a farmer, how she was challenging her brothers when they were playing her and they were freaking huge, that when the lady says in the film, and she says, you don't go home, you don't sleep, we have to play until she beat them, and then she goes to sleep. Having this lady will for sure, will definitely change your life and change the way of teaching basketball on the court and outside the court. So I cried a lot. The dean was with me and he was like, why are you crying? I said, this coach got Alzheimer. He said, whatever, he doesn't know her. And I said, whatever, she's the best coach in the world. She has more than 1,000 wins. He said, whatever. I said, she was our supporter when we traveled to America, and she would have become the best one for Iraq. Of course, he doesn't understand those things. She was like, okay, no problem. Just don't be sad. We're on a trip. We want to buy the best equipment for our college, and we want you. Your English is good. You have to help us. You have to concentrate on the work that we do. And I was like going to my room and sending emails to Hoshi and telling her about the story. That was the beginning. And then when you asked us to do something for her, I saw the We Back Pat in the arena. And all these people wearing shirts and, having We Back Pat, and clapping with thousands for Pat Summit. Imagine, put yourself in her position at that time. She's in the beginning. She didn't lose all of her memories. She knows what is going on, and she sees 20,000 of people, millions of people praying for her. Of course, she would be proud. Of course, she would be happy. And of course, she would think, even if I die now, I don't care. That was something touched me. And I said, okay, it's our turn. She helped us with basketball, and we have to do the same. If Americans like her native people would do this as Iraqis, what we should do. And to be honest, you were the light and you were the planner. And of course, you were the money, bank. And you told us you will come to Iraq with Ashley and you will do this. I arranged a little bit things that she deserves. If I would, or I could have done more, I would for sure. We did something great. We went to a school and we brought more than 150 girls, opening a tournament for the best 4 teams in Kurdistan and playing as heroes because they know they will have shirts. We Back Pat, dark blue shirts, I still remember. And to be proud that we collected all of the federation guys. They all came to Suli from 2 hours away, 3 hours away, 6 hours away. And they came to support Pat Summit, even though some of them, they don't still know what Pat Summit is. The day was like having Ashley on the cheering with the girls, we back Pat, we back Pat, we back Pat. Imagine if she sees this, what she would say.
Well,
Her messages, her basketballs, her love, and her feelings and, emotions were so strong, so that it touched all these people, Kurdish people, Iraqi people. So it was amazing. You know, we did a lot of amazing things. She did a lot of amazing things. Hopefully we will continue with that, Sarah.
Absolutely. So you arranged a We Back Pat in Iraq tournament, and then we filmed it. And she was well enough, Coach Rizgar, I'm sure you remember this, that we were able to show her the video of the tournament that you all did, the messages that you were sending to her, and the We Back Pat sign. And she cried out of just appreciation. And she said, I never dreamed that the simple act of giving away a few basketballs in my life would make such an impact on those girls in that community's life. And she was truly humbled by that. So just as we wrap up, tell us what has happened in the last 2 years. And even during the pandemic, you all have done amazing things with the launch of your Dream Academy. But I know you're doing all of this to promote girls and women's empowerment in Iraq and throughout the region. You are doing this to honor the legacy of Coach Pat Summitt so that her gift to your community lives on and on and on into the next generation, so that no girl goes without the gift of basketball in the way that it changes our life, as you said, not only on the court, but off the court. So maybe give us just a quick update as to how many girls are in your program now, how your community, and the changes that you're seeing in the families' lives, as well as the girls' lives.
When I was in America, I was in Buffalo having fun with my friends in Niagara Falls. They sent me a message, you were fired up as a coach. And I was the first team on Iraq, went to Arab tournament, club Arab tournaments in Egypt. And the area were thinking about how can an Iraqi girls, especially Muslims and Kurdish, can play basketball, how they can win Iraqi tournament, and how can they travel outside. It was the first time a Kurdish Muslim girl can go outside. Christians were the first girls, women who can participate in sports and who can play because of their communities. They were open, more cultural, more educated than the Muslims. So it was a huge thing. So imagine as a coach, you come to America to have your study, to take something, take an advantage and send it back to Iraq so that you teach people and then they fire you out. That doesn't make sense. It's, instead of saying you are amazing and you're representing Iraq in a good way. At that time, I remember they were telling me, why don't you go to Canada to stay there for the whole of your life, bring your family over. What do you want to do? You want to go back to Iraq and you're fired? I was like, I will go back and I will start a big program. And I promise to do better than Sirwani in my club. When I came back, it was, people were starving. They didn't have salaries. You remember, Daesh, ISIS came and it was horrible. I was under $30,000, you know, money I borrowed for my study. And then I have just my house, my family. My wife was very supportive. She said, God is big and you will get there. Don't think about it. Just stay focused. Try to be honest with yourself and people, and God will bless you. So I started praying until God opened my mind. And I was, you know, you remember, I was changing emails with you, Sarah, what can we do? Sometime I was crying, sometime I was like screaming, sometime I was, you know, bothering you with my stupid sentences, talking about the future of this country and talking about the future of basketball, but I didn't quit. So I started the first women organization, JIMA organization for sports development. I hid that thing because they were even making problems for establishing this. I had nothing. Exactly in 2008 when we didn't have anything. So I went to people, wealthy people, rich people, asking them for basketball. Someone is giving me $100. Go and bring 10 basketballs. Someone is giving me an amount of money, make a basket. And then some other, go and do some painting. Go to a wealthy man, tell him that this happens to me. And I came back from America. I could have run, I could have escaped, but I didn't. I love my people. I love my girls, and I don't want to quit this. He gave us something, and we spent it on that little gym that we had. After 6 months of being a volunteer as a coach with little girls that the first time, 6, 7, 8, grade 1, 2, 3 comes to play basketball, I told their parents, I will make them my girls. Trust me. The principal said at that time, he is my brother. He is well known. He is a very good guy. So they trusted me, and they came. And like I told you, changes. Then this girl becomes stronger. Her body becomes more fit. And then we teach them life skills through the game of basketball. This is what someone is saying. Though it grows. Then we become in a point that we have 65 girls. We cannot be volunteer anymore. We cannot spend gas. We cannot spend money on electricity, on water, on repairing the gym, having tournaments. So I asked the parents, please, I cannot do anymore. I have to have you on my side. They all came to me and they said, okay, we will pay you monthly. How much you need? I was like, okay, $20 is fine. We will collect all these amounts, and we will start over and, buying good equipment, sending to Iran, sending to people to Turkey to buy more good stuff, and then having tournaments for the girls to grow and to become better players. Then we dealt with Halabja Club. We went to Baghdad and we won the Iraqi Women League with under 14.
It's amazing. Hey, yes. Rizgar, just for the sake of time, sorry, for the sake of time, because in case anybody has a question, tell us what your academy is now and how many girls are playing basketball and how many are on your wait list, because you've created not a program, you've created a movement of empowering girls and women through basketball. So how many girls are in your academy now?
Kind of revolution, actually.
Yes.
It's kind of revolution that those girls, a girl is under 13, she teaches people life skills. Those guys will be amazing. They will be better than mine for sure. After a few years. In the beginning, it was Jima. Jima is taking care of environment, making good players, trying to qualify the best ones to go to the national team. Now it's Dream Sports Academy. Dream Sports Academy is a place that every single girl dreams to be in. A place to have lectures, theoric, lectures, teaching life skills, touching, like we have so many touches in the schools, girls touching girls, that. So teaching them, for example, do not let anyone to touch you. We have coronavirus, we have bad people, we have people who seeks making your name bad. So these girls will be more educated. If a girl goes to touch them, they would never let them. And they will advise other girls, do not let anyone to touch you, which is something very big for here. Sure. So it's Dream Sports Academy. At Dream Sports Academy, all the qualifiers, all the good ones, all the best players who comes from Jima, they stay at the Dream Sports Academy and they play at the best clubs of Iraq. Now we've dealt with Ghazi Shimal, a club in Kirkuk, which they have good fund. They will fund us. They will send us outside. Plus the Iraqi Basketball Federation Association, who will send us with the national team. 130 girls, and I assume this summer would probably turns to 200. We established boys under 10. From 10 days, from 10 days, 25 booked their names, and most of them are under 8. Some of them are 3 or 4, and they beg, keep calling. We want to put our boys, we just want you to coach him. And I would say, he is 3 years old. He cannot hold a basketball. So she says, the mom says, or the dad says, okay, he just comes and play, no problem, just to be with you. It's a big revolution out there. It's a big, you know, movement, like you said. Thank God we've been succeeded with prayers, with support, people supportive like you and Coach Pat, and hopefully we will get more.
Well, thank you, Coach Rizgar. Does anybody have any questions? I know that a lot of people will be tuning in on the recorded version, but Miss Danielle or anybody else have any questions? Because if not, we'll ask you to turn your cameras on so you know we can take a flexi, because we're always strong people changing the world. So anybody that wants to turn your camera on for a photo, Coach Rizgar, thank you. You've painted a light on, good to see you again, Danielle. Painted a light on the history of girls basketball in Iraq, and it's somewhat representative of what's happening throughout the Middle East region. But the fact that you're using basketball in a really intentional and thoughtful way to create stronger, more responsible, healthier young women. And as a man in the Middle East and in the West Asia region, thank you for your belief and your commitment to girls and women's empowerment. We need more dads and coaches and allies like you. So thank you so much, Rizgar. All right.
Thank you for hiding all these people behind the cameras. You know, it's our duty in life to do something for other people everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's America, if it's Iraq or Afghanistan, or even though England. It matters that God wants us to serve his kids. It matters. You always think about better future. These girls, like I told you, they will be better than mine, you know, better than me in the future. And I bet that so many great coaches will become like Pat Summitt in a Kurdish way, in an Iraqi way. And hopefully in the next 3 years, we will have good referees, female referees in Iraq, and we will have good coaches. And hopefully after a few years, I will retire and they will lead the program and I will become an old guy sitting just watching.
Oh, you're already
Thank you guys.
Guy. Yeah,
so
all
nice
right.
to meet you.
Let's flex it up for our picture. Thank you all. Big smiles. Perfect. High fives to everybody, and thank you so much. Danielle, thank you for coming and joining us again. It's so good to see you. And email us, because Rizgar also is doing a lot to bring together different faiths, Arab and Christian and Muslim and Jewish, and but within the Iraqi context. So high fives, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Rizgar. It was a blessing to be with you guys. Nathan and Brett, thanks for your technical support. Hang in there.
Of course, thank you.
Blessings to everybody. See you guys.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks.
Thank you.